Hey everyone, hope y'all doing well out there. Really, whatever you're doing is alright. Well, what does that even mean anyway? It's all relative. If I'm a little sweaty, it's because I just did a run. I've been doing a lot of barefoot running. I just did a 4 mile, longest barefoot run I've done, but it was on pavement and some rock. But I did about like a 7 minute mile. I don't really run like that kind of running often, so I feel good. I was like sprinting, music just jacks me up. I just wanted to come on here. I haven't been posting quite as much content because I've been doing a lot of in real life stuff, and I think just since everything's happened. I mean, of course, COVID and BLM. It's definitely shifted my perspective a lot on social media. For those of you who don't know, last year I guess it was, I sold my half of Brothers Green to my brother. I used to have a cooking channel, sort of alternative lifestyle cooking. We had like 1.5 million followers. And we did all that stuff. We had a show on MTV. We had an agent. We had people working for us. We had a whole thing going on. And then there's a whole long story about why I left. But I knew in my soul I had to leave. And Mike continued on. He changed the brand to Pro Home Cooks. Our videos, a lot of them are still up on YouTube. But I had to walk away and just really figure out who I was just within my full expression of truth. I also left my marriage last year. So my life changed a lot last year. Those were the two biggest things in my life, without question, and I left both of them. So now I'm just out here living in Colorado, and I've decided, I don't know if it's a decision I can make, but it just kind of feels like a knowing right now that I'm going to be terminating my brand. I'm not ending my business like in the legal sense, but I'm going to be destroying this brand. You Enjoy Life. So I'm still going to be making content on my YouTube channel and here and podcast and doing stuff, absolutely. But I thought that I had to have a brand to make money. I thought I had to have a brand to exist in this world that we're living in, because people have brands and I talk to people, and I mean, I had a successful brand, so I know what it's like, and people say, hey, well, you have to have a brand image, and you have to have a schedule, and you have to post regularly, and you have to make sure your content is engaging, and on YouTube you have to have good thumbnails, and you need to tag things properly, and you need to see what's trending, and you need to have this very cohesive image so people know what they're holding on to. And I thought that I could do that, and it turns out I can't. And not only I can't, but I have no desire to. Rather, what I would say is my being will not let me. Anytime I try, something deep within me, even if my brain, my ego says, hey, we got to do this, we got to have a brand image, we got to post more, we got to make sure we have consistency, something within me will not let me do it. So I sat on that for a while. And one thing that came up was I have friends, and I was talking to a lot of people, and when the Black Lives Matter protest started happening, a lot of people didn't know what to do, because they're like, well, I have these schedules, and I have this course or this book or these video series coming out, and I don't know what to do because I have all my posts scheduled and it's throwing off my whole thing. And it's like, okay, things change, and when you try to hold on to things too much, the world changes. The world, the world is always unpredictable, but it's extremely unpredictable right now with what's going on. People could have not predicted all these things in this year of 2020. It's been, I think, the craziest year in quite some time, probably in the last almost 20 years. And so I sat back with that, and I really thought about, okay, what does that mean for me and my life? And here I am living in Colorado, and I'm really just focused on things that matter, the most basic things. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but things like being a good human, figuring out what that means, growing my own food, cooking all my own food, creating deeper connections with friends, helping to support and guide those that are in need, that are struggling, that feel alone. And I started thinking about You Enjoy Life and what it really means. And what I really appreciate and love about You Enjoy Life is that it's not about me. It's really just a formula. And the way I break it down is you enjoy life. So you think of you, right? That's the you that this flesh bag that you got on, whatever, that's you. Your life is everything. Life is consciousness. Life is like your whole experience of life. And enjoy. So the word enjoy gets, I think, thrown around a lot, but to me, what enjoy means is being in a state of joy. And being in a state of joy really just means being in presence. So being in joy, when you think about joy, right? It's like this state of just presence and total connection. So for you to be in a state of joy in your life is all I'm really here to do. And it doesn't mean that we're supposed to be happy. I'm not talking about being happy, or positive or motivated or supercharged. No, being in a state of presence, which might not always look very pretty, which might look like sitting in bed for hours and processing, the loss of a loved one, or the ending of a relationship, things that I do quite often. Not just, you see a lot of videos I post in here where I'm dancing around like an idiot and having a great time. Idiot, I think, is another word. Or weird. We were talking about weird last night. The word weird has a an odd connotation, but to me, weird is like unique, right? But my being weirdo, and that is a piece of it. Because if you're having a rough day and you see me dancing around, maybe it reminds you that it's okay to dance too and be silly. But it's not all about just happiness and fun all the time. And we got to get real here. In order to get to those states of joy, you got to be able to process all the traumas, all the emotions, and all the pains. So I've been thinking about all these things going on and posting, and I'm finding myself like, I'm still posting YouTube videos, but I have no schedule. I'm doing them whenever I want. Same with here. I have no schedule. I can't even really try to schedule, it seems like, a live video. Like, hey, I'm going to be going live tomorrow night. It's just, I don't know why. I'm not saying I never will again, but it just doesn't feel right for me. And if you're someone watching this that has a brand and you're trying to make money and have consistency, that's great. I get that. And that is another point that I'm trying to make here. I recognize that me doing this will mean that I will be probably making less money, at least in regards to not having a consistent brand and not having some sort of brand image that advertisers can get behind or people can make sense of. And I'm okay with that because I really believe that you don't need much to survive. And I have the support of those that I care about in community. So I'm more focused right now on living in community, because when we live in community and we're connected to people, we don't need to have a brand necessarily to sell. All we need are the basic things. Again, food, connection, music, shelter, live somewhere by nature. It doesn't take millions and millions of dollars to do these things. These are very basic things. You can live on a very humble salary, make very just basic amounts of money. There's a lot of people out there. Check out like Rob Greenfield. He lives below the poverty line. He has 44 possessions. Everything he owns, he puts in a book bag. Dude is super inspiring, super motivating. Feels like a soul brother. I've only hung out with him once, but his same last name, and he's actually one of the people that got me into barefoot running. He has a great video all about that, how he's been barefoot for like the last 15 years, and he runs faster, and it's amazing. So I actually just recently bought what I maybe will be the last pair of shoes I ever buy. I'm not saying I don't know for sure, but my goal is yes, and they're zero shoes, and they're super thin. They're basically wearing like a piece of paper on your foot, and it's really just in places where I need to have shoes on. Like I'm going to the supermarket, right? Or if I'm in like a crazy cactus area, even though I'm working on just being barefoot. Anyhow, point is, to me, being in joy is about stripping away all the bull crap and actually living in truth. And one of the reasons I bring this up is because with everything happening in the world today, it's easy to get caught up in figuring out what's right, what's right, what's wrong, how do I say the right thing, how do I post, and all I can say is that if you really believe that something in the world is wrong, what is going on over there? If you really believe that something in the world is wrong, if something needs to change, if you're like looking at something like racism and saying, yeah, this is messed up, this is bad, and I'm part of the problem, well, you need to figure out what that looks like for yourself, and you don't need to be shamed or guilted by other people, but you need to really like take time to go inward and pause. And I know I'm saying you need to. I'm speaking, what I should say is speaking to what I had to do these past months, to really go inward and think about what matters with everything going on in the world. What really matters to me? What am I here to do? And what I've come to see is that everybody has gifts. Everybody has something really special about them. If you're watching this video, you are a gifted, talented, wonderful, amazing person. I can promise you that. You have some gift, if not many. And all you need to do is strip away all the crap. Strip it all away. And this is like, mostly the book that I wrote, Conversations with Your Best Friend, is pretty much just about that. Stripping away all the fears and the traumas and the things so we can actually find out what's true. Because when we get to the truth of who we are, we're not being guided by this false little small ego, but by so much of a higher divine power, then we're actually in alignment with ourselves and our gifts can come through. So if you're like, I don't have any gifts, I'm not talented, bullshit. It's not true. You are. It's just that you have all these ideas, like I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm not good enough at this, I'm all alone, that are keeping you small. And I promise you that's not true. Promise you. I'm just a normal, whatever human who just one day got tired of living in this false matrix Truman Show reality and broke out of it. Which is, again, another reason why I can't do the brand thing. I just can't have some sort of brand image. You Enjoy Life is not a brand, it's an idea. It's really a formula. And it's not even mine. I don't own it. I'm just working to keep it afloat for now because it feels like part of one of the gifts that I have to share. And that's another beautiful thing about having gifts is when we actually share our gifts. When we're not coming from a place of ego and saying, this is my gift, check out how cool I am. When we're actually in the state of presence, that is when huge things happen. That is when shifts happen, because when you're in a full state of presence, when you're completely present to what your gifts are and what you're here to share, it's not about you. My gifts are not mine. They're just coming through me and I get to share them. And it's a privilege to get to share them with you. But I have no ownership over those things. Does that make sense? Does that make some sense? So, regardless of what's going on in your life, I just want you to know that everything's going to be just dandy and fine. Just start looking inward, looking at you and what's important. Don't get so caught up in the brand and what you need to do and what other people tell you need to do, but being authentic and honest to the truth of who you are. And things tend to work out. And again, you know, maybe we think we need lots of money, but look around. There's other ways to survive. You know, my conditioning growing up as a kid was just to buy things, you know, because I had that privilege. And my family did well, and I could get things that I wanted, you know. Hello. And that all completely shifted when I moved to New York City and I didn't have money, and I had to start looking at what mattered and what was important. And I very quickly realized that I didn't need that much to be happy. I was the happiest I'd ever been. I had hardly any money. I'm like dumpster diving and foraging for food and doing anything to make a buck, you know, and cooking any kind of odd jobs just to survive. But I had friends, and we were playing music together, and we were cooking, and we were dancing, and going for walks and stuff, and it was great. And I've transferred that energy over to now, realize that I don't need that much to be happy. There's very little that you really need to be happy. And we think we need to buy stuff and have this whole solidified person who's confident and knows that I'm an expert in this. It's like, we get away from the truth that community comes with connection, common unity. Community is common unity, sharing something with other people that is so much deeper than this superficial world most people are living in. Yeah, talk soon. Peace.